angle to think about. Like, we kind of started off with the whole, social fabric change and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, it all, I don't know, full circle a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
So, but because people then want to then here I come back to the idea of everybody being a billionaire or a trillionaire, like this abundance idea, and everybody also, I think you need this voltage across the society to drive the change. And
You
so
have
if,
to,
if
yeah.
and if you don't have some level of difference in outcomes of living in a hovel versus a mansion, you don't have people inspired to go do things and try to improve their current situation. So you don't get innovation. People at the top end can become more stagnant in their thinking because they're comfortable. You need people that are uncomfortable to drive innovation and change.
And they need to be able to lose that station in life, just as you should be able to gain that station in life. Yeah.
That's why I love the Premier League, where teams can actually get demoted if they don't perform. You need to have some risk there.
Welcome to Unqualified Advice. How are you this morning, Sean?
Dan, it is a beautiful Sunday morning in Houston. We have just a bit of heat and humidity. Not bad this morning. I don't know why I always talk about weather. We always default to weather for some stupid reason.
But I don't know. It affects my life, so I don't mind talking about it for, you don't need to spend 14 minutes on it, but I'm happy to talk about the weather and what it's doing in my life.
We're in indoor season in Houston now, but at least it's not too bad in the morning if you're out and want to go tend something in the garden for a bit. It's still doable. So it's good.
That's nice for July in Houston. Yeah.
It's been really mild, honestly, relatively. I feel like compared to
all the heat went up north.
Summers. Yeah, it did. We were both just up there, weren't we? And got to experience some of that.
Yep. We've had the same heat here, but it's dry. So it really is like just different. As soon as we left humid land and came back here, I landed in Denver at like 8 a.m. or something like that. And I walked outside and it was 70 degrees. The high later was like 95, but it was 70 degrees and crisp. And it just almost felt cold compared to having gotten used to South Carolina and Indiana. Yeah.
Well, yeah, our mutual and from the Denver area I saw last weekend. Yeah, she mentioned it had been quite toasty and unpleasant. And
we get a monsoon this coming week is what the word is. Monsoonal rains.
What is that going to do for, I've never heard of monsoonal rains hitting Denver because it's a high desert. So what is that going to do? There was I know that dam that broke that we went and walked around.
Yes. Maybe that was the last super El Nino.
We'll report back if we're unable to record next week because of
my house
issues.
Is moving.
your house is floating away. We'll know that theory didn't hold water, so to speak.
Yes, totally. So how was the Midwest?
The Midwest was a blast. Other than being, Indiana, the summers is hot and humid. Wasn't a break temperature wise, but it was good to get some fresh sweet corn for sure. Mm-hmm. And went to my first theme park in decades, I think.
Yeah, plural for sure.
Went to and visited Kings Island, formerly Paramount's Kings Island. Now it's part of the Six Flags brand. I believe the brand that owned Kings Island, Cedar Fair, recently merged with Six Flags, is my understanding. But it was a good time to ride some coasters. It was interesting to see where branding had been removed. Was one thing I noted.
Yep, that's interesting.
A lot of rides had been built in the 90s when it was they were somehow themed with Paramount, but Paramount had some ownership stake. And so Paramount was trying to have, I'm sure competing with Disney and Universal for their theme parks, and had like a Top Gun themed roller coaster, an Outer Limits themed roller coaster, and a Italian Job themed roller coaster. I remember all of which still exist today, but just with different branding around it effectively. Yep.
So, is it still like a different kind of movie, or is it?
No, it's just some of they're more themed. Like the one that was the Outer Limits was like a space station thing back in the day, and it's still a space alien station, like Area 51 vibe. Yeah, just not a little different. The Top Gun one is now called the Bat. It's just it's not really themed. A roller coaster doesn't need a theme. It's interesting that all of them are kind of designed with these.
It just needs a rating of stomach turning.
Yeah. Yes. Thankfully, my 40-something-year-old stomach held up to the challenge for the most part. I did have to sit out one ride that the group went on because I was, it was after lunch and I was a little much for me. But other than that, I was good.
Oh, your old man is showing.
It is. It is very much. I was just happy to, yeah, to only have to miss the one.
Well, yeah, it's cool that y'all got together and did that. Though, like this, one of the themes that I think we've returned to, but like I turn to in conversation often is, and it's fueled by lots of different things. But it's just like the hunger for in person stuff. I think people are going out and doing things that they otherwise would have maybe turned their noses at. Only 10 years ago. They're like,
Yeah.
how many people? How many would you have said yes to like this big? It wasn't even that big. It was just like a proper group of old friends got together and went to Kings Island together, right? But like, would you have done that a decade ago?
I don't know. I like to think that I would have, but maybe not. But nobody suggested it
Well,
either.
yeah, but like also
So
we were all busier. We all had
yeah.
better social lives at 10 years ago,
I mean,
probably.
it might have been more of honestly 10 years ago. For the group that went, it might have not have been as much of a possibility financially for everybody. Not that it was a huge ask for particularly people that still live in the area
Nearby,
there.
yeah.
But a couple of us flew in, so it was, which I think we probably still could have done a decade ago. I don't know. That's a good question, Dan. Have you had a similar experience recently where you found yourself saying, "This isn't something I would have thought about doing a decade ago"?
I think the reason I talk about it is because I don't get out much,
Hmm.
and
Now, is
and
that
I'm not
because of
spending that money.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think there's, but I also, it's not just me. I think there's a palpable thirst in others, but also like you don't want to do it alone, and so therefore people, I don't know. There's something, it's just something slightly generational, something slightly screen time, something slightly COVID hangover that like this pot of stew, I think is now mustering up a kind of hunger, but it hasn't quite been released yet. But we're starting to see it in $10,000 nosebleed tickets to the World Cup and
Hey,
Taylor Swift tickets.
actually,
It's like the
you could
demand
get
is
them as you
insane.
could get them as low as you could get them down for about 8 grand this week. One of my friends was looking.
Right. Yeah.
They came down a little.
Yeah.
He
Totally
almost
puts it in my price range.
Yeah.
I'll admit that I have a problem with heights and I always have. And going up to the nosebleeds is hard for me. It's very hard.
Really?
Yeah.
I will admit that it
No.
does. It does. It
Sears
can,
Tower, Rockefeller Center, no
that
problem.
I understand.
No problem.
Really?
Yeah, no.
That's no problem. But the
I'm on a
nosebleed
floor.
seats.
Yeah, nosebleed seats, the stairs,
It's
and
the inclination.
sense of, yeah.
I will say at the World Cup, I was 15 rows from the top. I can't afford great seats, but it does feel like when you're stepping out, when you're walking out, it's like if I tripped, I would just go
Or
onto
just
the
go.
field.
Yeah.
I feel like I could end up onto the field, like with the right bounce. I just need one good bounce
Yeah.
right there, and I'm on the field.
Yeah.
And that's the way it feels. I don't think it's that in practicality, but you do get
No.
that if you have that vertigo. If you have
If you have the vertigo,
I
it like
could
multiplies
understand it.
that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never considered that, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry that restricts you from being able to go to even more things because now you have to pay for the fancy tickets.
Yeah.
You just need to try with the club level seats.
Yeah, it was one of the benefits of my old job. Like only a handful of times, maybe 3 times or something like that, I got to go to a Yankees game. And I don't even follow baseball, but I grew up with baseball around me, and sign me up for a comped Yankees game, right? But the difference is I was going to a box, and I wasn't in the. I was like, I'll do baseball games like this anytime. Wasn't on my dime.
I have some friends. There's a lot of corporate seats
exactly.
at
That's
Astros
what I was
games,
in.
and I have a lot of friends that have various access to corporate seats. And because if somebody were to text me, "Hey, right now, do you want to go to the Astros game? It starts in 40 minutes." I could say yes and be there 20 minutes ahead of time with a beer.
Yeah.
So I get offered a lot of tickets because I'm willing to go
It's like
and can.
Yeah.
So I get to go to a lot of the free, not a lot, but 1 or 2 a year.
Well, I was going to say a lot considering you would otherwise go to 0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've paid to go to 1 in the last 5 years with some people, but I took a group from work. But outside of that, it's fun to have just like, oh, here's this little happenstance. Same thing with the Houston soccer teams. Never, ever an NBA game though. I've never actually gotten to go to an NBA game here.
My parents took us up to the Bulls back in the Jordan days one time, and it was pretty Man, speaking in
The United
nosebleeds.
Center back in the
Yeah.
day.
Mm-hmm. I
Our
was an
house at Jordan
experience. Like
Belt.
I can still clearly remember that game. Not like the whole thing, but the experience of being there.
I would
Yeah.
imagine, man, yeah, just the experience of getting there to like a facility like that when you're a little kid. Everything feels so much bigger.
Yeah. Wrigley Field does too, but it isn't compared to other baseball stadiums, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man, I remember. Yeah, Wrigley as a kid felt big too, but a lot of places now they just feel small to me. Not
It's
small, but
crazy because
smaller.
some of them have gotten enormous, and you're down in the land of large stadiums. Or I don't know about
And that
Houston
might be part
specifically,
of it.
but
Is maybe I've just visited some mega stadiums, so now
spoiled.
other places feel. I don't know. I think no. I think it's just a sense of scale. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed lately about myself and feeling that there's a difference in. I don't know. Like I see places differently.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but this is an interesting thread talking about. I think the need for or this growing desire for in-person events in third places and you shared something this week that I thought was kind of interesting. Do you want to kind of dig into this barbell question that you've posed?
Yeah. Well, like I think it kind of goes back to cultural bubbles or information bubbles. It is not necessarily like a clean geographic line, right? Like if you're living in Nashville, you very easily could be of coastal mind, even though you would be surrounded by heartland mind. Let's call it if we're creating a rough dividing line between two schools of thought around different kinds of cultures and trends and stuff like that. So setting that aside, is there a large difference between the way? I don't know. I feel like that dividing line has always been so huge, and it has defined movies and TV and what people see, and perhaps with like the fragmentation of content and more people being able to choose from a wider variety, we're actually watching the difference get further apart. And that's kind of like where I started with my thought process. Like, if the country music awards, like where do people, I'm trying to think of like ideas that illustrate the dividing line rather than like pick on things, but like,
Yeah, help elucidate the dividing line for me because I think you're going this little direction than I was expecting. So I need a little clarity here.
well, maybe,
So
maybe I need to
so
reread the material.
no. I think I read a couple of different things. I might be I realize now I'm conflating two different things.
Prime me.
Yeah. So I was reading the post you had shared about the millennials in midlife and their barbell there, and then yes, so that's where my head was kind of coming in from. But like talking about a cultural divide, and then also, I mean, you do talk about the other post that you shared discussing kind of the divide of what basically where you would expect to see things like marathons
Mm-hmm.
and large cultural events around more health oriented.
Like group of social events gathering around physical activity and health. Yeah.
Yes.
I would expect that in
Yes.
California, New York, Massachusetts. I don't necessarily expect it in Iowa, and evidently that's a very wrong assumption. That was where I was trying to go with this cultural divide. Is like I think there's actually a lot of not coagulation. It's like still lots of variety, but some of my assumptions, things that I think have been right for many years, are now not right, and it's kind of interesting to watch things like shift around a little bit.
Well, and is it that because it's a percentages game? It's not that 100% of the people in any one geography start doing one thing or another, or all of a sudden everybody in the Midwest in Cincinnati goes out and starts up run clubs or something tomorrow.
No, but I can tell you that they were outside of the head coach for men's track and field who lived near me for Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of him and his college students, run club was not even a vocab word. Like it didn't exist. And then you go to New York and it's like, oh, you can just do things. There's like people doing things.
I think.
And you can
Well,
just
how
join.
much? So in the last 20 years, we've had 60 million people out of the country. The distribution of populations might have changed.
Totally.
And we've seen also with as we've previously discussed, technology allowing spread of ideas, more homogenization. So these ideas that might be
And more
good,
remote work.
spread.
And people who would have chosen a coast can choose Des Moines instead.
Yes, some of that. But I also think it's just memes. It's the ideas that like might not have been there in a way, and
Renee
now
Girard.
the ideas hit. It's not maybe the people have moved as much as ideas move in a different way. And so again, I would argue that a suburb of Houston is 99% equivalent to a suburb of Dallas, to a suburb of LA, to a suburb of Chicago, to a suburb of what have you, Nashville. You're going to find 90% the same businesses, the same layout of how the things are just, functionally laid out in the town, because of people keeping up with the Joneses. People see, oh, I like that idea over there, and then copy it. And so we're a society of apes and mimics. And so good ideas spread, quote unquote good ideas. But then it also feels a little homogenized, but that's just kind of what seems to happen, at least has happened over the last 20, 30 years.
The homogenization could in part be driven, well, when talking about human behavior, it's going to be just an absolute multitude of factors. But think about cars, for example, and the homogenization around design, because everything is converging, especially as we go electric, around aerodynamics. And therefore, the optimal shape of a car is basically the same no matter who designed it. And so you're going to get like some variety in shape of headlight, but like the shape of the car, the curves, the willingness to take an edge here or not there, because all those are going to get shaved off, because you're going to want the lowest drag coefficient you can, because that'll get you 5 more miles of range or whatever.
Yeah, precisely. The best ideas get copied when you're trying to optimize for certain elements, right? Effectively.
Yeah. So if you're looking to, get the best bang per dollar on your municipal planning, then you should expect to see similar vibes as you go to different places, or like the strip mall beats the.
I mean, I think we've previously discussed this, but look at the schools around just Tippecanoe County, Indiana. The same middle school has now been built in like 5 different spots.
Oh, really?
They bought the plans for one and have used it for Klondike, Battleground. There's 3 or 4 now that all, and same on elementary schools. It's the same set of plans. You can tell it's the same architecture firm that did both. They basically bought a set of plans to say, you go and create a site. You need a flat piece of land this big, and here's what you put on top of it, and then copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I would argue, I bet it's not that hard to find that in other, that's one county in Indiana. Like how I bet if I went and look at other counties that are growing, you're going to see similar behavior, because Indiana, that Tippecanoe counties also happen to be growing.
Really, a lot.
Yeah. So that's, and now it's in some theories, it's kind of just a suburb of Indianapolis itself.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah.
It's within about an hour commute, and people the working population of a center is typically defined by how many people can commute to your job within an hour. So if I'm in the north side of Indy and I want to start a business, people in Lafayette are definitely in my hiring pool. They're within an hour commute.
And customer pool, depending on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does that do to people, though, as the variety goes away? I mean, we're already
midlife crises.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. yeah. Which for boomers look like a divorce or a sports car, and for the millennials, it looks like what?
Analogy. I love this train of thought. Like, yeah. So like the old midlifers is the new midlife, and what? Oh, I'll pull it up, but I'm trying to remember what some of the specific examples were now.
Well, one of the speed bumps is. Let's say that someone who owns you own your house and you have an excellent rate, but there's no way to get, well, there are ways, but there are few ways to keep that rate if you were to move. And let's say things not going well in your life and you decide to get a divorce. At least one of you is losing that mortgage. It is a super lopsided thing. And so then the contention would be, do you cohabitate as roommates? Mm-hmm. Because the cost of living difference to do otherwise would be so
detrimental. Mm-hmm.
Like if it happened to both of you, I think that would be one thing. But for it to only happen to one of you, I mean, unless someone really blew up the relationship or something and there's like a court involved. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting question. I mean, because it hadn't occurred to me.
Well, I mean, what you're going to find is that people will just not
do it.
I don't say it. What do you mean it's one-sided, I guess, because it to me is not one-sided. It's still mutual. That one side gets a real good. I mean, it's not necessarily one-sided is what you mean. If somebody's one of the two kept the house effectively.
Yeah, one person gets $1,000 per month cut on their living expenses, and the other one has to.
Well, I would no, yeah. I mean, I think in any outcome, you're going to find some that there's have to be either some initial capital transfer to justify that, or they're going to sell the asset, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what people are trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, to your point, we've hit this point of from what 40 years of seeing declining interest rates.
Yeah.
It's
Our
always been a
entire
little bit cheaper.
lives was
It's always been a little
one
bit cheaper,
rule.
a little bit cheaper. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know what? It's no big deal. It's a little bit cheaper this year than last year. It's gonna be a little bit cheaper next year than this year because interest rates probably come down. Like we hit that bottom.
Interest rates going down means asset prices are going up. Real estate was always a good investment, which I call many questions to these days. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would love to call some questions to that, but that's neither here nor there. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but with people effectively locked in, your point, or I guess the author's point of this Substack that Dan shared, which is Priyanka Desai. It's just simply titled Priyanka Substack is the name of her blog. But her conjecture is that, as we said, it stated boomers, their midlife crisis looked like new cars, divorces, new things, and today it seems to be a different set of things that are on the menu, right? I think that's a kind of an interesting.
And what else was on the menu? Because I remember the point about the house, because I thought that just it slapped me in the face. I was like, oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Well, an affair with a 20, 25 or 30-year-old dating somebody of your own gender, apparently. Yeah, that doesn't seem new to me. That just seems like recycled. That seems recycled. Move to a different country. That seems kind of also tried and true, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
For women having a fatherless panic baby. OnlyFans, peptides, running a marathon.
On
one list. Another list was, I like this list actually better. An affair with a 20-year-old, quit drinking. Number 2. Number 3, alcoholism. Number 4, running a marathon. Number 5, peptides. Again, having a panic baby. And Hyrox. I am not up to date because I'm not up on the Hyrox scene. I don't know if you can illuminate anything about that. And then finally on that list, divorce, but that, being at the end.
Yeah, it's like the flavors aren't that different other than
they're not.
You get to see a few obsessions carried out,
I did find her argument to have a little strained there, but I thought there were some things that she missed, and that's what I liked. So
say more.
So, all right. Midlife crisis for millennials, starting a new business.
Okay.
Like starting your side hustle. I think could be something.
Yeah.
Trying to become that. Dan, I'm going to throw some shade on us here, trying to become influencers online.
This is just good for my soul. If something happens, that's all good with me.
No, that's true. Yeah, I think it depends upon how you go about it, right?
Yeah.
Those are a couple of immediate left to mind. I'm like, she's not thinking about through this clearly enough. Like, what else? What else could there be?
I like the side. It's like some of them are so positive, though, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, it's not necessarily bad, but I think it's what it is. It showed I've been ingrained in this path, and I've realized it's again because the question of any, I think this idea of a midlife crisis is
it's always the same. Yes.
It's always the same question.
So did I choose this
to change? Yeah. How did I end up here? Was this a conscious decision or was this a series of accidents?
Or a series of conscious decisions that I didn't plan out. I didn't have the long view, and now I find myself here and I'm questioning it. Right.
Yes.
And I like to. I think it's more useful to frame it with less about blame and more just hey, you know what? Sunk cost fallacy. Wipe all that done. What questions would you like to ask yourself today? Without blowing your life up, preferably. But some people will always do that. But yeah.
And so I think anything you're going to see people doing culturally is going to be how do we break out of it? And I think Dan, that also brings us back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of the these events and being hey, I wouldn't do this 10 years ago, but now I am. 10 years ago, a theme park might sound like a fun idea in theory, but I have time to do that. I can always go do that. There's other things I'd rather do right now. Now it's yeah, you know what? I might not want to ride a roller coaster when I'm 60. Let me go do it.
Yeah. Probably not.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see what that develops. I don't think we know yet. I think this is I like the hypothesis that there's going to be these weird trends of millennials doing kooky things like opening cronut shops or shit, but because that's what we've always done. We've all like
Every generation. It just,
I was
you
in my
twist
head
some
this
knobs
week.
and it's the same, right?
In my head this week, I had a version of. Do you remember Paula Cole's "Where Have All the Cowboys Gone"? No, okay, it's a song from the '90s. I changed the words in my head to "Where Have All the Hipsters Gone," and
Yeah. They're
I need
still
to
in
make
Bushwick.
a parody. Yeah,
I saw something like they should just rename Bushwick to like Little Midwest. Which is pretty, or at least it was accurate at one time. I've been there in a little while.
that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. Little Midwest. Yeah, well, I feel like that. I feel like there are a lot of Midwesterners in little clusters, though. Like,
Oh yeah, Portland, Oregon has a ton of them. I'm always
yeah.
amazed at how much when we go there. Like part of my brother's network is like, oh, these guys are from Indiana, or his wife's from Indiana. And it's like not even the Midwest. It's just like Indiana. It's like, yeah.
That's
I'm
pretty.
surprised.
That's
I mean, it's
that's pretty
biased,
specific.
biased
Like
because
these
it's connections through my brother, who's also
these
from
people
Indiana.
are all from the Westwood subdivision, and
Yeah,
what?
yeah. They grew up together in Capilano.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yes, same.
Because
Yeah.
people cluster. Like you
Yep.
do find, I don't know, you people want community. So it wouldn't, let me import my community with me if I'm moving somewhere. Oh, hey, yeah, why not?
That's what I did in New York.
Yeah,
I
right?
shouldn't take credit. That's what other people did, and I was the beneficiary of.
Mm-hmm. And now that you're again part of being, in the midlife trench, you don't have anything you can port with you. Like it's different. Like if, like, hey, Dan, you want to go start a commune?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody always turns me down when I ask them that question.
However, we have pitched people before of like, let's buy these 40 acres. We'll put a strip of asphalt down it, split it up into lots, and we'll all live in the same neighborhood together. So we can just have dinner parties and the kids hang out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's hard
It's
to
called an
coordinate.
HOA.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like but you're choosing everyone, you know?
Yes, yes. The problem is you can't get enough people that all want to live in the same area or could
It's
find
too hard.
a common.
I mean, for us, it works better because all of a sudden we would have a whole bunch of people that could also help with our kids. But for a whole lot of other people, they're like, we're not leaving grandma, grandpa. We are the anomalies in the sense that we live far away from all family.
Yeah, similar story here. It'll be interesting. I wonder if the next generation coming from the Midwest will be less of a brain drain, and if more people will stay focused in the Midwest. I feel like there's a lot of people that spread out from.
You had to.
Yeah.
There's 25% youth unemployment.
Yeah,
there were no jobs.
Yeah, there weren't any. There were no great jobs, right?
Not even great. Like some of them just didn't have jobs. Like, well, what are we gonna do? I was under desks fixing dusty computers for a few dollars an hour. Like, not cool. Not gonna stick around for that.
Yeah. But now going back, seeing the SK Hynix factory being built was incredible.
Insane. Yeah.
Did you get to go see it as well?
I did not. I sent you that tweet after I had already gotten back here.
Okay.
Because
it's right across from where my grandmother used to live, right across the street, literally immediately across the street from where my grandmother's home was. And it is.
Imagine what she would say if she saw it.
It is huge.
No doubt.
You have seen the Lilly plant, correct? Being built
up there? No.
On the way to between Indianapolis and on Lebanon.
Okay.
Between Indianapolis and Lafayette, Lilly's building that large plant. We've discussed it previously.
Yes, we have.
The water demands.
Yep.
That facility is even more massive. I was just trying to give you a sense of scale, but it's got to be like what half a square mile, half a mile by half a mile in size, at least, maybe even close to a mile by a mile total lot size. And there's, I don't know, 6 or 8 cranes, massive, sitting out there. It's going to be curious to see how few people it actually employs, probably, but it seems like a very positive economic sign for that area. And again, why I say it's growing, and I feel like the Midwest might see a resurgence in.
I think it already is. It's like the only place where real estate prices are still going up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They seem to have flatlined a lot of places, have they not?
Yeah, they're down here. They're actively going down here.
Yeah, mine too.
Buying opportunity? Question mark.
No, because again, the freaking, the interest rate.
How long do you have to eat the interest rate? Like if you wanted to switch and you wanted to like bet the timeline and say like, you know what, we're gonna get the expensive 30-year fix, and we know that it's gonna be an expensive 3 years, but with sometime around the 3-year mark, we'll be able to refi into something more palatable.
That's the thing. I don't know that we will.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's a safe assumption to make at this point. You might have a week where you catch a little blip, but I don't understand why structurally things would necessarily go down more than half of half 500 basis points. No, not 500, 50 basis points.
Well, then the other question would be like, can you just do the math and say like, I'm willing to buy the points down because this is the last house I'm going, like I'm
Actually,
gonna finish out this mortgage.
I
So
wonder. That's actually a thought I hadn't thought of.
the new home builders are doing it for people here. So it's got to be.
Yeah.
There's also, at least in this market, the sellers are giving concessions. So you buy the price, you negotiate the price, get the price, and then also negotiate the concessions. But then, if you were to match the concessions, let's say, I bet you could get 2 points off that mortgage.
See, Dan, that's quaint that you're thinking, and we're looking at anywhere that's actually home builders are building. Everywhere we're talking about.
No, I'm talking about sellers, real sellers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every house in this neighborhood has concessions.
I haven't seen that going on here yet, but I guess I'm not.
It's not advertised. You got to go call. Yeah. You got to find out.
I need to reach out to a former guest friend of the show, Lindsay Howard, and see what she says.
Yep. I would keep that in mind. And also, like, yeah, your neighbors will appreciate you if you keep the value, the struck value from not plummeting, but then get the sellers to give you 50 grand or something.
Feels so many games, just so many games to protect something that is
that's gonna fall.
Hey, speaking of things falling, I'm not quite there, but it's almost to the price point where I said I'd stick my hand out for a catch of a falling knife. Tesla or not, SpaceX is down 40%.
Yeah, well, like $1 trillion of value has been wiped off.
Roughly that.
Incredible.
Now that we're down 40, I still think it's got a ways to go yet.
5 to go. Yeah.
Yeah. But it might be time. But once it hits 50, I think I gotta just take a little. Just a symbolic taste at that point.
Symbolic taste. Well, friend of the show, Maxonomics YouTube channel. Not friend of the show, meaning I watch it. He just released like a SpaceX video, and it's, I don't know, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. It's short, but kind of walks.
I like the last one you sent.
Yeah.
That he did on SpaceX. I'll have to check that out.
Okay, yeah, this one was good. It was much more focused on the economics and. Clearly had read through the filings and all that kind of stuff and the conjectures. And he's like, there's a lot to believe here.
Mm-hmm.
But he walks through some of the math and the why, which I thought was illuminating, right? Like
that's why
he's like, you're buying Starlink. Starlink is it, right? And he's like, if they just did dumb payloads, they make great money on payloads, and they are differentiated because it has never been cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And space payload capacity, while under the government, had only gone in one direction. Once SpaceX entered the market, it's also only gone in one direction, but the good one. It's gone down. And so net, Musk has made, significant savings for the taxpayer over time. And
I believe you mean price per payload capacity, right? Not total payload capacity.
Not about capacity, but capacity is up.
Yeah.
Because they're firing more rockets and bigger rockets. But yeah, price per kilogram. Yeah, it used to be like $800,000, and now it's like sub 100.
That's pretty incredible, really.
It's a huge difference.
But if you think about the curve of technology adoption, I would expect it could still go down another 80%.
Yes, I think it'll still go. Yeah, I agree.
Well, there's actually that's a good question.
But
there's got to be a theoretical limit due to fuel costs.
Which is 23% of the launch or something like that, he said.
23%? Okay, so yeah. So you could probably take another 40-50% off then.
And the rocket is like $40 million to build total. 30 million is the reusable stage. 10 million is the part that disappears. Because again, all the government rockets were just like, light the candle once, and it's either bottom of the sea or burned up in the sky. Like it's just a 100% throwaway.
What if we strap something to this bottle rocket, y'all? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. But anyway, the next step was now SpaceX has Starlink, so they actually have payloads that make more money into, I think it's a 5-year timeline before the satellites hit atmosphere and start burning up. So they're going to have to replenish these, which is fine. And then anyway, he also walked through the data center opportunity because it sounds so ridiculous, but to most of us, but he kind of walked through it a little bit. It's like, it's not as crazy as you might think. There's a vacuum of space where you can
once, right?
The vacuum of space where you can put all the extra heat. You got solar panels that can run all the power. He's like, and then as the economics come down on actual launches, throw some,
anyway. I do see that it'll be tried. We're going to try it at least once to see Somebody's got to at this point. I feel like just to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
You know who you are. No, I don't think we have that man's attention. Somebody's going to try it. So again, I do think it. Like I said, once it hits that 50% off the discount, where I said it was just absolutely insane, it's probably time to just it's probably still going to go down another 50, 80. I don't know. I don't know where it bottoms, but think about all the big, massive IPOs that have started that have come around in the last 30, 40 years. A lot of them went down huge from their initial level or their
Facebook has had multiple 80% drawdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazon was down 90%.
Mm-hmm. So
and if you would have bought at the IPO, you'd still be rich.
You still would be. You would still be so happy. So that's what I'm saying. Like once it gets to 50, I think I got to start taking some little symbolic tastes. I think, and then like we discussed before, if it's something you really believe in, now's the time to start thinking about that tiered buy-in strategy. If you were wanting to have, I'm not saying you should go 100% here to still have a well-diversified portfolio, but it's time to start. If you want to build that position, you're probably starting to get closer to the time to think about it. If you're buying for 20 years, in 20 years, I think you'll be,
happy with the return.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that man has basically only made people money. So betting against him is the one that doesn't make sense.
What happens to the value if tomorrow his plane goes down?
Yeah, that I'm not so sure about that. He is the magic.
Both from a marketing
perspective, I think it's huge. Yeah, personally. But he's got incredibly smart people behind the scenes there. So like, I think I could just be totally wrong.
He didn't have the time to actually build and design those rockets.
No, but it's his ability to come in and it's not about. I think it's less about the. Well, I mean, yes, he said that this is possible and then went and made it happen. But from my read, it seems to be his ability to find the choke point and release tons of energy on that choke point. Meaning, all red tape is gone. The entire organization is focused on the choke point until it's released, and then they move on to the next engineering problem. I think, and there's magic in that because in order to do that well, you have to remove all politics. You have to remove all sense of like, well, I don't want to step on that person's toes because they were the ones that got us to this choke point or whatever. It's just like, you've seen the man handle his own humanity. Like, I don't think he focuses on a subject and there's nothing else in the world inside of his focus for that period of time. And I that is a detriment in some areas of life, and it is a little bit magical in these other areas that he's applied himself in.
Yeah, it's like a maniacal vision of and I say that kindly. I don't think the maniacalness is bad. I think it's actually it's what drives the ultimate creation of value in these places. But I've also heard the standards are high, and I think that people go there to work at a place where they work with people that also have high standards. So you get some self-selection of people hear that, and there's a certain type of person that goes to work in those types of environments, and so you end up creating this, this organization that has self-selected very high quality talent and can create, long-term value and then achieve his vision. Like that, before he started SpaceX, nobody was thinking, oh, let me go start a company that's going to launch satellites into space and return the rockets back to Earth and thought through the economics of it. So there's some special sauce there. I can't deny it.
From an idea standpoint, it was a twinkle in Jeff's eye, but he hadn't done it yet. And then Elon did it, right? And then Jeff still hasn't caught up.
Yes.
Just to point out like how hard
this is. That being said, though, I do still think there's a lot of room for a second place in the market. And I think the Amazon's the closest with Blue Origin from what I've read. Seems closer than
who else is even playing?
Virgin Galactic.
Wrong structure. I feel like wrong.
No, I mean they're going after a different thing.
Yeah.
Rocket Lab supplying components is okay. in the supply chain.
Supply chain. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're an interesting business, worth more steady before I speak on them. But yeah, I don't know who else there is. So that's why I say Amazon. I think still has. If you look at the actual revenue currently of comparing Amazon and SpaceX, Amazon's valued somewhere around 1.1 trillion.
Blue Origin's separate.
Is it?
I
You're
think
right,
so.
aren't you? I don't know.
I don't think that's. I think that's Jeff's pet project. He sells Amazon stock in order to put more money in Blue Origin.
Yep, 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 yep. You're 100% right. I was 100% wrong. So never mind. I still wonder then if Amazon would be the one to naturally accrue a lot of benefits, but yeah, they would not have the financial. But
Didn't Amazon just buy like a satellite internet company or something?
maybe I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know.
I
That would
mean,
make
anyway,
sense.
like your little toy with the idea of SpaceX.
It would make so much sense for Amazon's delivery system to have, hey, you can sign up for Amazon Prime for an extra and get Amazon Prime Plus that also has internet service through our satellite provider, and you can buy whatever you want from us wherever you are in the world because you're never going to lose connectivity.
Yeah, they don't have a great. I mean, outside of Kindle, they don't have a great hardware record, though, right?
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, Alexa, I guess, but that's still a crap product compared to the
Well, this wouldn't be
LLMs.
this wouldn't be so much. Well, I guess yeah, you're right. There would be the hardware, the receiver side of it, right?
Well, yeah, if you're, I think so because
Well, when you said hardware, I'm
it,
thinking consumer hardware. I think they're industrial hardware, and
but now
they're
you've got to
hard.
get Apple to put in the Amazon Starlink version of the radio in the phone. Like if you're selling like you will have connectivity everywhere you go. It's like I want the dish on the house. I want
Yeah, it has to be on your
the
phone.
capability on my phone. I want to take the trips to the mountains and not have to drive an hour to go get signal to check and
No,
see
yeah,
if
of
Amazon
course,
is going
of
to
course.
punish me because I haven't answered an email. Yeah, I want that.
Yeah,
I don't want to doom scroll while I'm in the mountains, but I do want to stay compliant with Amazon's rules.
help me help
That's
you,
specific
Amazon.
to
Help
me.
me help
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Yeah, you should give me this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're right. There would have to be some level of hardware, whether it's. I mean, look at. I mean, Starlink doesn't have a phone, right? They have
No.
They could do some. I would think that would be the model that Amazon would maybe initially try, but maybe the right thing would be to do for somebody who wants to compete would be to say we're also going to be a phone company, y'all,
Yeah. There's
because
also
that's
like technical
ultimately
questions
how.
here of like, are they all using the same radio? And it's just like you sign up for Amazon service or Starlink service because the spectrum has to be the same because of government regs or
Also
there's
true. I
there's
don't know how much useful
further
bandwidth
depth
there
there to go.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that acquisition by Amazon might just be for spectrum. They might just blow up all the satellites and they don't care about the actual business. That's also like on the table as a possibility because
Yeah.
people acquire things just for spectrum because it's a government monopoly, like
It's real
regulated thing.
estate.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's real estate in the sky.
Pretty much, yeah. Which is kind of fascinating when you look at the underside mechanics of that. When I listen to people who actually know their way around it, I'm like, wow, I would have fallen asleep reading that paper, but I'm glad I listened to you.
Yeah. It boggles the mind, the math required to understand that for sure.
So I'm going to follow one more fork in the road that I think connects to our question around midlife crises and your conjecture saying that you finally start or be extremely much more serious and put some resources into your side hustle. And my kind of like ongoing question of like question also like this is my thrust, this is my bias of I think we're going to move into an area like I've said that this is the age of the generalist. I think anybody who is curious and willing and able can like really thrust themselves into the world and do something now because you don't need five coworkers who think differently than you with different skill sets to actually make something. You can really do it all on your own with a little bit of curiosity and gumption. So more solopreneurship, more going it alone, more I have actually 3 side hustles and a full-time job and none of them are so taxing that like my full-time job is suffering. I think all of these things are possibilities, but from our little notes rundown, there was also this question of the stratification of outcomes. Is it still like my picture is just this for anybody willing, the the floor of outcomes comes up. But my little caveat there saying for anybody of the willing, does the stratification get even worse, right? Like if someone is unable to even try these things, will they also find themselves? I mean, do we see like more tiers and the floor for certain groups being worse? Or yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about how it spreads, right? And also, I think the question B in my mind is like how do you foster more of it? How do you get more people to try and realize that they can? Because if you get more participants in the game, then people stop blaming the game, you know?
I also wonder there's a practical limit to it too, because it's also, or there needs to be other structures built around to allow it to bloom, because I think it also is antithetical to the other things we've been talking about, where people want some sort of community togetherness. So these lives can become, I think, if it's too solopreneur, too solo, and you'll have a group of people that never want to engage with that because they're more social, right?
No, I think of these as like services businesses, which are meeting driven.
Inherently social in their nature.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's a good point, actually. I don't know. There's something about having somebody on your team working with you that is attractive too to some people. But so your question B of how do we grow more of this is I don't think it's something that you like society can intentionally force. It's just going to be an evolution of, it'll matter like from society's level, how do we build out infrastructure in the next 20 years? So are we going to build out infrastructure that allows for, I would argue, if you put a bullet train between Houston and Dallas with 3 or 4 stops, you would see an immense amount of new construction and development of communities and homes along that corridor, because it then opens up 2 major metroplexes with more companies would move into the areas between, and you would see a change of new businesses and new things popping up to service the changing population. Whether the population of the United States remains to be growing or stagnant or declining is a different question, but that's certainly going to change geographical locations over time, one way or the other. So I think the way if you want to foster these things, it's about having society and infrastructure that allows them to flourish. That's where I'd start.
Yeah. But what about in a world where the browser goes away? You're not even using the browser anymore.
Does it matter? Because it depends on how people are going to be adding value, right? So in that world, how do people add value? It's going to be more reliant on face-to-face. It's going to be less reliant on things remote. I think there's actually going to be accrued benefits to places where you have more access to a greater number of face-to-face encounters.
So the inequality goes up.
Maybe.
That's the thrust of my question. Because I came at it from a much more like, if you try, it's going to be more democratized. And the other direction, of course, is thinking about the less. Because if it's going back to high social status and access and that sort of world, which is more like, 1900, it'll be more stratified and closed off country club. Save up your pennies to buy the country club membership so you can network.
I think so, because you have an infinite number of opportunities of like, you can go and search something in Google and just keep hitting more results. There's so much digital surface area out there to be scoured and filled, and what becomes important is the actual who you know, in a way.
As it always has been. But I wonder if that's like, I'm just looking for change. Is it more magnified?
No, I agree. But I'm wondering how this could change it. Like, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. I'm just thinking through, and that's where my mind. No, I think it's interesting
because it makes me think about how I need to save my money and spend it. It does. I have a future generation to look for, right? It's not just about me. So if I can buy access, it sounds totally petty, and I think it is. I can't really imagine thinking this way. But, why does paddock access at the F1 races, why is that like gone up in price by 400% in no time? Part of it's Netflix, part of it is American money, and part of it is I think people just want to get together and rub shoulders. And it's not about friendships necessarily. It's about, there's a whole lot of business getting done in that paddock. Same goes for the box seats at the World Cup. Same goes for the box seats of the Yankees. It's all the same.
I wonder what the ROI for some businesses is on those seats. Because for some businesses probably look at it as a chance where there's an ROI to spending. Oh, it's $38,000 a ticket. Okay, we'll make double that from each ticket we buy. If we buy 6, we'll I don't know.
Carlisle has their name on the Red Bull car. I do not think that their name needs to be shown to the wider global public. I think that sponsorship deal had come with seats at every race, right? In the club. That's my guess. I don't know anyone at Carlisle.
I like that. No, actually, that makes more sense to me.
If I were Carlisle, I'd do it.
Actually, I've never thought about the benefit of corporate sponsorship in that light of that. Oh, this becomes in something where
Google does it with McLaren. They invite partners worldwide to the race. Well, yeah. It's a relationship thing
tool
more than exposure.
It's just like the sales guy having a membership to the country club, so he can 100%. Take clients to go golfing. It's the same. It's like, hey, this now is a tool for our marketing team to take big clients and say, hey, let's go talk about this over drinks at in the F1. Man, you're so right. You're absolutely right. That's where the value of and those seats are for those those companies, and why they are able to inflate. I mean, why those tickets get high prices.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're not competing against individuals. Actually, you're competing against a publicly traded balance sheet.
Yeah, yeah. Like you're doing it because the ROI is I'll have fun. They're doing it because it's going to make them, it's going to
Compound.
it's
compounded
1.8%.
return.
Yeah. We're going to get 1.8x our money by doing this. So why not?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like another interesting angle to think about. Like, we kind of started off with the whole, social fabric change and all that kind of stuff. And then, I don't know, full circle a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
So, but because people then want to then here I come back to the idea of everybody being a billionaire or a trillionaire, like this abundance idea, like, and everybody also, I think you need this voltage across the society to drive the change. And
you
so
have to.
And if you don't have some level of difference in outcomes of living in a hovel versus a mansion, you don't have people inspired to go do things and try to improve their current situation. So you don't get innovation. People at the top end can become more stagnant in their thinking because they're comfortable. You need people that are uncomfortable to drive innovation and change.
And they need to be able to lose that station in life, just as you should be able to gain that station in life. Yeah.
That's why I love the Premier League, where teams can actually get demoted if they don't perform. You need to have some risk there. And then when you have institutions, things that get institutionalized and make it harder for people to lose that by just being lazy, I think was where we've made some mistakes and not thinking about how we do estate taxes, for example. But that's probably, I could spend 30, 40 minutes talking about that at this point. So it's probably
maybe we should sometime, because I mean, I know I've brought up France's rule of and Claude got me on the actual percentages, and it depends on how many kids you have or whatever, but the point still stood.
I had no idea. I thought, no, it was directionally correct.
It locks in aristocracy, essentially, right? It locks in staticness. And there's no wonder that almost every single French entrepreneur with their salt comes to America instead of staying in France. Unfortunately, I'm a big fan of France, but it's I'm biased because of my timeline on Twitter, probably, but it seems like every French person is over here.
They do seem to spread. I have a couple of French coworkers, and they don't seem to have any desire to hurry back. I'll say that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Beautiful. Anyway, don't need to go down. What was I going to say? Do you have a Premier League team that you follow? Oh, okay. You mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I didn't know he followed. But yeah.
No, I don't. But I like the idea. I like.
I'm with you. Yeah. Now that you have to earn your keep. It's not just this is who we are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a hardcore fan to that level, but I like the ideas of it, and it makes the I don't know. It just makes it feel more exciting that these teams can basically become poor. Perform well.
Yes.
The value of the franchise drops 40% if they lose this match tomorrow. Oh no.
Yeah. You're watching the stock ticker during the game.
Yeah. It's, the level of risk is just somewhat higher. It makes more. I don't know. It makes you care more about than. Yeah. No. Also, it makes you care about then. Also, not just. It makes you care more about everything. It's not oh well, we're going to be at the bottom. I think in some American sports where it's well, we actually kind of get rewarded for being last because we get the best draft pick, and we get this. They've done things to help that by making things more lottery system in the NBA, for example. But having that threat of now we're going to bump you down to the minor leagues and bring up the Indianapolis Indians to replace you. I guess they'd have to do a name change, but that would be an interesting wrinkle, I think, to the dynamics of American sports. Not the one that we'll ever actually see in our lifetimes, but it'd be fun.
It would be. Yeah, I agree.
Or maybe we can see an American football franchise make it into the Premier League if they play well enough somehow. I don't think that's actually feasible, but
I don't think so either. But that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep working on our talent. Maybe we can do it. Yeah. And so we are recording today ahead of the World Cup final, which is going to happen in 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
Do you have a call on this, Sean? Who's going to win?
Well, I've been wrong every game for the last 2 weeks. So
every time I tune in to start rooting for someone, it's not good news.
Pretty much. Sorry, Norway. I apologize.
Yeah.
I think I feel like at this point, just because of through personal personal drive, I feel like Argentina's got to win because it's
Hunger.
the hunger, Messi driving that team, and
One
even when
less
he's
go
not
for the old man, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
even when exactly, they'll have the emotions behind him. But I mean, Spain's also going to come in fired up as all get out because it's the World Cup final. So you never know. That's why you play the games.
Well, the game yesterday was not at all how anybody expected it to go. I thought France would come in there and just stomp it out, but turns out England had a lot to say.
Yeah.
It was exciting to watch.
Yeah. Well, 10 points, 10 goals. I mean, that's just a great, I mean, that game pretty much sealed the golden boot for the France star Mbappe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they shouldn't count for the total. No, I don't know. No. I wonder what the viewership was for that game comparatively. I want got to be down a bit. I know ticket prices were pretty cheap, relatively speaking. Yeah.
I mean, you're watching for third place. You're still gonna see incredible soccer, right? Even if that's the thing. Like,
but
England came out early, and like we were over to neighbor's house, and I was like, the British papers tomorrow are going to be all like, why'd the coach not play this line? You know, in another game, like you know, a whole bunch of Bellingham wasn't in for a long time, and then Kane wasn't in at any point during the game, I think, right? So.
Mm-hmm. And that's also why you see it's a different game because they're not playing necessarily the
people they expected and studied.
Yeah. So I think it opens it up for more variance, and that's why you get that outcome.
That's a good point
to some degree.
Yeah.
So
two fair weather soccer fans.
It's like I wouldn't count it like as a statistically significant game. If I were to come back and say, would I count like this in like the stats of like, is this statistically meaningful? Like, am I going to use this to help me make predictions about future outcomes? No, I'm going to ignore it because of the extenuating circumstances.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's good. That's an interesting point. All right. Spain's really good at shutting teams down.
Yes.
But one thing I've seen Argentina do several times this World Cup is just, right at the very end of the game, score 3 goals. Kind of. So I'm kind of expecting like a slow start and then a wild end.
Argentina's got that. We're going to pull this out of our ass vibe going.
Yes,
and
totally.
I'm kind of wanting.
I'm there for it.
Kind of eager.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and I like to often root for Djokovic because he's the old man in tennis now, and I like to cheer on the old men trying to hang on to it. Right, I'm right there with them in age, so I am kind of cheering for Messi just for the sake of it because I'm sure it'll be his last one. So
yeah, he's 39. It has to be.
Yeah. All right, shall we leave it there?
Thanks everybody for tuning in to another episode of Unqualified Advice, and I think I mentioned this last episode as well, but be sure to go check out unqualifiedadvicepodcast.com if you want to see how we do as far as scoring and our accuracy and our predictions. Always trying to hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, data-driven podcast.